Livestream Studio is a powerful solution for live video production that combines advanced technology with a user-friendly design. It has network-based inputs like NDI, as well as physical HDMI and SDI inputs. It also has a simple user interface so everyone can quickly master the tool. However, the true strength of Livestream Studio shines when paired with a tactile SKAARHOJ controller, such as Air Fly Pro. Feeling the buttons under your fingertips, having a T-bar handle, and being able to integrate other devices, such as cameras, is essential when you need to keep your eyes on the road ahead of your video production. Livestream Studio looks like this. The software, it can run on Mac or Windows. It has traditional red and green indications for program and preview. If I click here with my mouse, I can apparently select other sources for preview, etc. And we have hooked up some NDI sources from our showroom here. We have some graphics that we can play with. But before we do that, we want to set it up with Air Fly Pro. So the UI you saw at first here is Reactor. That is running straight out of the Air Fly Pro on the IP address announced to us in this little display. So I basically connected to this IP address, and what I want to do now is to look up Livestream Studio here, the software. We have like 400 different devices and softwares we can connect to. So Livestream Studio is one of these, and by selecting that, we now have it as a device. And we need to know its IP address. Sometimes we also find that auto discovery is working. It depends on some settings inside of Livestream Studio. But basically, I now set up the IP address here. There's one thing I need to do in Livestream Studio before we can connect, and that is to enable external connections in Livestream Studio. This is something that we worked with the team behind Livestream Studio on. So basically, third-party controllers is referring to your SKAARHOJ devices, where you can basically enable it here. And then it would allow connections from, I think this is the IP address. So yeah, those are the allowed connections. So now it will actually be able to connect. And going back to the Air Fly Pro, you see it is now connected. And all we need to do is to select the configuration that drives the mapping of functionality onto the buttons. That is necessary because these products, they are flexible. They can do all kinds of switching systems. So we have ATEM, we have Barco, Kairos, Livestream Studio is one of them, Rosstalk, TriCast, vMix. So by just picking that, we are already in business. Let's go over to the Livestream Studio software. You see it right here. So do basic things like selecting sources for preview. Okay, that's easy. Can we do a transition with a cut? Yes, we can. Can we do an auto transition? Yes, we can. What about fade to black? Will that work? Yes, it will. So all these things, can I use the T-bar? Yes, of course you can. So there is also that possibility. All the basics are there. Let me show you another cool thing. The displays on your SKAARHOJ product will reveal what is the name of the source. You can change that name, simply hello, writing that. It will say hello in the display. I can also rearrange sources. So if I want to move that as the third one, you see this is just swapped around instantly on the SKAARHOJ product. It's a good sign that, I mean, this is what we do all the time. We make sure our devices are also pulling the necessary information out and staying in sync with the devices and softwares we integrate with. So it's seamless. That's really, really important. Okay, so that was the basics. Now we want to apply some graphics, right? So we can basically this is in the software done up here where you can preview graphics. So if I just do that, you see that would be like a lower third with my name. And if I want to put that on program, I basically push it by pressing this button. So now it's being pushed with a nice animation. And you guys probably know all about how to set that up. There's a little editor here, and we cannot control that from the Air Fly Pro. Not the point either. That is, are we able to basically set up a preview of what graphics should come next? Like now I have queued up graphics 2 and 3, and if I press push on these, then you'll see that each of these are now being pushed over, and then I can also remove them over here if I want. I can pull them all back out again if I want to. So that's graphics management up here. It's a live streaming package, so you also want to stream and record, and of course you can do that from the panel as well. From Air Fly Pro, we have this button. It's called record. If you press and hold it for like a second, it will start recording. You see it in the software up here in the upper part of the screen. If I press and hold this one, it would actually start live streaming, but it just stopped again because we have not hooked that up. But you saw for a brief moment that it was sort of intending to, and of course that would work just as well. Now press and hold and we'll stop the recording as well. So we have that in place too. There are media players in this software. We have media 1 and 2 here, and we can of course select those for our preview. And to see how the media playback works, let's just pull this one up, okay? So basically we have in and out points defined for these. And if you look at this little menu, we can either decide whether we want to play the playback clips in full, or if we want to play the in-out point of the clip. Now, if we, let me see. Yeah, with the media, I'll come back to that button in a moment, but basically if I want to play back media 1, which is currently on preview, I'll basically press this button and we should see it's playing back from the point where it is right now. If I press it again, it's like pause, it is playback, pause, playback. And that's basically what there is to it. So if I want to cut that on, I can do that. And there we go. I could then select something else on my preview bus and then cut back to that anytime I want to. Okay, so I can start and stop media playback like this. There is this function that you can also do playback of the full clip. Actually, that's what it was at here. The moment you play back the clip from the very beginning, this will be significant. So right now you see it's playing back from the beginning. You can see that on the little red marker right here. And let's just stop it again. And then we put it all the way back to where it came from. Now we want to play the in-out. And if I press this one, you'll see that it's probably beginning from here. Okay, there we go. And it's also lighting up in yellow. So that indicates a little difference in the playback mode. We have integrated what we can. Since we don't have like a rewind button here, it's because it's not supported in the UI. So that part of it will have to be done from the software in this case. So audio is the last thing that I want to touch on, basically. And we have some audio features that we can basically select up here. So these will be a little menu of what these buttons do. And the audio volume is the most significant one. Of course, you can pull this fader. And that is probably the way you will adjust audio sources if you have a mouse around. But it's also possible to not only monitor it on the Air Fly Pro, you can actually adjust it as well. And that's a little bit strange to you if you don't know the concept of SKAARHOJ controllers, where we have four-way buttons, meaning that the left and the right edges of buttons can be used to adjust values. Now notice what happens here. As I'm pressing the right edge, I'm basically increasing the value. And if I'm using the left edge, I am decreasing the value. Let's try it over here. Increasing, decreasing. If I press the upper edge of the button, there's a little indication that we are now in coarse mode, and that means the steps are gonna be 10 times larger in dB. You see that? Okay, 10 times larger steps. Now we are back to fine mode, and we can fine tune our settings. And I can even press and hold the lower edge, and you'll reset the value. Now that pattern of interaction is actually a standard pattern you find in our controllers. Many parameters with a large value range like this will have this. Fine coarse mode, left and right edges for increasing and decreasing values, lower edge hold is resetting the value. So that is pretty much standard. Let's move on to the program, what is this, audio follow video kind of thing. So for any of these sources, we can basically select whether they are associated with programs. So when they are on program, they will be enabled, and that's what you see right there. If we, let's just do a cut here, you can see that the indication we had a moment ago, this yellow one, means that this is basically tally information that we are seeing right there. Okay. Yes, so, and of course, if I do this in the software, you can see there's this full correspondence between the two. Let's move on to muting. If I basically mute these sources, you see that they light up in red here, and I can unmute them and remute them if I want. And then the final one is headphones, which is like a solo function. And of course, I can also do that on the panel, and I can remove it again in the software. I want to show you, because we have some PTZ cameras here in the studio today, and one of them would be number 3. Let's just bring that on program. This one is a Canon CR-N700, and I want to show you that this little section, width only, will now capture the attention of these 6 buttons and the joystick pad and the zoom rocker on the Air Fly Pro, including these 2. And I'm basically now going to see if I can maybe... CR-N700, it's discovered on the network, so you see it has found its IP, and that's what auto discovery means. Wonderful feature. And it's now connecting to the CR-N700. So even though this controller is now talking to the CR-N700, we also need to tell it that this should now pop up in the camera selector up here in this section. So basically, I'll do that, select the device, and you see that it's now added to the camera selector. So if I press this, it will be selected, and I can now, let's go back to Livestream Studio. I can now use the joystick pad to move the camera to the side. This is like a convenience joystick. You won't do this for live production, but hey, it's actually really useful if you just want to do like small tweaks. And by the way, we are also seeing this over a latency infected network connection, I think. Anyway, we have made this little adjustment of the camera. Pressing this edge will toggle between having camera selections, because of course you can add multiple cameras. You can have like infinite number of PTZ cameras if you want, but here we have preset record. And if I want to store this preset on preset number 5, I press and hold. And then if I press preset number 1, it will go back to actually where we came from, because that was preset number 1 record. But I also have preset number 2, which is something entirely different. And we have a preset number 3 here, preset number 4, and preset number 5, the one that we made just a moment ago, all managed from within the Air Fly Pro. And that's what's so essential about SKAARHOJ products. They are multi-device controllers. They are not only about Livestream Studio, they are also about your cameras, your video routers, your external streaming and recording devices. Everything you want to control in broadcast, even your power switches, can be controlled from the Air Fly Pro, integrated in smart ways where with a few clicks, you basically have it set up in ways that we have designed to be useful. But you can also, and that's not for this video, go into the configuration page here, and you can basically click on any of these buttons on the controller, and you can assign any function to them that you want, basically overriding what it already does from the devices you have added. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like our content. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to our newsletter for updates. You can find all the links to these wonderful resources below. And anytime you wish to interact with us, feel free to reach out to our sales and support team.